Hi, and welcome to the Sabbath Christian Church's online sermon. One of the levels of the Hebrew connected with Passover is corner. Now, what has corner got to do with anything? Why should that have that kind of a meaning? I mean, why? Let's take a look and see. The Hebrews there. Let's see if we can build the meaning into it. Now, corner is the Hebrew's corner. It's side, extremity, corner of a house, corner. Any part of a building holding it together, making it as such. It's kind of hard to have a wall unless the wall is very thick and some way is going to stand by itself, unless something bumps into it or something comes and knocks it over or is not balanced right. Basically, walls of a house or anything needs a corner. Corner connects it together. It holds it together. It says in Job, "And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon these young men. They're dead, and I'm the only one escaped to tell you." Okay? So a great wind smote the four corners of the house. Therefore, the house would crumble. The corners hold the house together. Not entirely, it's not the whole thing, but it holds the house together. Now, a corner, if we think about that and enlarge our minds, we can see the corner can be a nation. Now, you don't see physical walls, although there were physical walls for places, territories and countries and stuff like that. But even without those physical walls in those particular places, the corner represents a country. The country goes from this corner to that corner and from down to the other corners on the bottom and across that way, and you have kinds of landmarks that make up the walls. So now the corner, if we represent the corner as being the corners of Egypt, as a kind of house with corners, that falls upon evil. The corner and the imaginary, or some cases walls there, hold evil together in an evil house. Now, the corner doesn't have to represent evil, but in that case the corner represents the evil. Now, it's not the house that made Job righteous or the result of righteousness, as the previous verse showed. Neither is the blessing of the young men's sons. Now, a house can also represent righteousness in many, many ways. Here's an example of a corner represented as a temple. The temple connected with the ark. When they built the ark, and you shall make the horns upon the four corners thereof, and the horn shall be of the same, and you shall overlay it with brass. That's the ark. Ark of the Covenant. So you have the four corners there, and here this house, this temple, with the corners holding it into place, is holy, righteous, good. The house, the corner, keeps getting better spiritually until it becomes a temple. So they didn't build the temple at first. It took time for them to build the temple for many reasons. The corners inflexibly and securely enclose the temples of our mind, which maintains its integrity and unity, because we have a temple of our minds. These corners keep the spirit within and the evil without. because it cannot reach what God has constructed. In the beginning, God created physical and spiritual corners. So your language is like a house, a thing there with the corners. You shall make the house that way, and after that, another piece, the house of Azar, turning into wall, into corners. The corner enlarges and embraces various territories, keeps evil together, and righteousness corners separate from it. The evil never changes. Why allow it near the corners of righteousness, which are impermeable? So we have that picture now in our minds of an evil place like Egypt, and the evil thoughts and things that are in people's minds. In Nehemiah it says, repair the gold sun in the place of the Nethinians against the Magpan going up of the corner. Did the walls surround Egypt? The corners kept the walls of evil together until Israel destroyed them, just like the wind blew down the corners and killed those boys, young men, until Israel destroyed them without leaving any consistency. Egypt never could rebuild the land of evil. How did the walls get suspended and broken down? We know. How lonely is the city? It's full of people. Become like a widow. She once great among the nationals, become a princess, a forced laborer. A street. We have streets within, or hallways within a house or within the area. And it says, behold, among the simple ones I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding. Passing through the street near her corner, he went away to her house. So the street there, and that corner of evil in that particular area, it can close an area, corners can close an area meant for good or evil, like Egypt or the young men. Inside a territory, streets lead a person along the paths of evil to the way that is narrow. And Matthew says, talking about corners and areas of houses, he says, enter through the narrow gate. For the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter through it. And so that gate, the wide gate, is not the one that leads to destruction. You go through the narrow gate. For the gate is small and the way is narrow that leads to life, and there are few that find it. So we get a picture of the corners now, and the gate leading through the wall to enter into that area that has the corners, and whether the area is physical or not. Now let's see this. We have a Passover gate and a Jesus gate. Pass through the narrow gate. So they passed through the gate that when God did all the things necessary to get the Israelites out. Now, and when they got the Israelites out in the Passover, killing the lamb, both in Egypt, and Jesus as represents the lamb. So we get this narrow gate, the lamb and Jesus. Putting the blood of the lamb around the doorposts, the corners of the door, not all four, but the corners of the door. And the blood of the lamb on the doorpost, and Jesus' crucifixion, the final stab, removing the blood. So we here again, we have the doorposts, the corners, and Jesus' crucifixion and stabbing arising from and out of the Passover. Eating the roasted lamb, eating the Passover in the corners of the mouth. Jesus said, this is my body, this is my blood. We walk away from the evil of Egypt, and Jesus never sinned so as to save all the sinners, would walk away from the evil of Egypt into the narrow gate, now worldwide. But not worldwide that enclose the evil, but the good. So we receive the Spirit like Pentecost, and the corners of our mind locking the good in and the evil out. That's how corners represent Passover. Amen. And thank you for watching and listening.